hometown girl, and you had all the awards. You won a title at Purdue, the most outstanding player in the Final Four. How did you handle the hype expectation train? Because technically you not only met it, but you exceeded it. And you know, somebody even on your team has got a little of that going on too, right? With Caitlin. So how did you deal with it, transition into Caitlin Clark? And do you two talk about that? Kind of weave that together.
Yeah, it's I was fortunate to do it at a time where there wasn't social media, right? There wasn't as much there weren't as many eyes, there wasn't as much I would say negativity surrounding a lot of what I was doing at the time. I it was growing up in a fishbowl essentially. And I consider myself a community project. Came from a small town in Indiana. Growing up, I knew I wanted to play college basketball. At the time, people thought you had to go to big schools to do that, and I was fortunate to be able to have a whole entire community behind me that kind of helped raise me and help put me in position for success. And also as a result of that, all eyes are on you. You're always being watched, you're always being critiqued, but at the same time, I think for me, back then it was more supportive, right? It was more
Mhm.
lifting you up. And transitioning that to today and what Caitlin's going through, I mean, it's a totally different ballgame. I
Yeah.
think that being a player in the state of Indiana, I can help navigate her in a way that most of us, as we grow through life, can help in. Like, hey, it's important to protect your peace. You don't have to be on social media. You don't have to engage with all of these things. Be who you are. Continue to because I think Caitlin has handled it amazingly well. Continue to do what you do, right? And I think for us, as coaches, for me as someone who's gone through it on a different level, just continuing to reiterate that point of, hey, there are times where you have to find ways to decompress and protect yourself and protect your peace. You are always going to be an outstanding athlete, you're always going to be an amazing person, but you have to find ways to fill your cup, right? And you have to find ways to keep you sane, for lack of a better term. So I think that's the biggest thing. We've had very few conversations about that early. It's more just checking in and making sure that she's doing okay. But as we continue to go through this process, I want to be a resource, and I want our coaching staff to be a resource for
I
her.
like that.
I think it's incredible that you have that background that you can help someone today with it. I really do. I think that helps a ton. And I remember covering the Hall of Fame induction and Joe Mauer. It's kind of the same thing as you in a way, like the hometown kid. He plays for the Twins his whole career, the pressure and everything. He plays catcher, he goes to first base. I mean, it's on the magazines, all the pressure, ticket requests, family there all the time. I mean, that to me seems like a really, really hard gig. So hats off to you for a hell of a career. I want to.
One thing I want to touch on is I like how supportive Coach Stephanie White is of Caitlin Clark. I want to be a resource, she said. I want to be a resource for Caitlin Clark to come to. If there's any type of overwhelming, I guess we can put as a statement like that. If there's anything she's overwhelmed with social media wise, I know she does a very good job of distancing herself from it and not letting all the talks get to her. Pretty much is what I've heard from Stephanie White, but she's also letting it be known that, hey, I know what's going on. You're a superstar. I know how it is. Try to, not get distracted. But if you ever need anything from me, you can come to me, and not just me, our coaches, our coaching staff. Support your young rookie. Support the friends.
I'm really excited about our club. We did really well in free agency, and we addressed some issues that we needed to address. Certainly getting some veteran players who have championship experience and leadership experience that can plug some holes for us where we needed it. I think our ability to stretch the floor, our ability to shoot the three, our ability to play with pace. I mean, we got to surround our big three, with Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston, and we got to surround them with great veteran players that complement them. And I think that we've done that. And the second thing, and I thought this was going to take another year to be able to do that, we've really developed our quality depth. And oftentimes, if you're trying to address two issues in free agency or two issues in an off season, you only get one, right? And that was free agency and depth for us. And we were fortunate to be able to do both. So I think it puts us in a position to compete. Now, it's our job as coaches to make sure that we can build that chemistry early, to figure out which players play best with one another, figure out our rotations, what they look like. It's important in our league. We played 44 games this year. We played 40 a year ago, in a short, compact period of time. That we got to make sure that we're efficient through 4 quarters and we're efficient through an entire season. So playing players, 36, 37, 38 minutes a ball game isn't to our advantage all the time. And so now being able to build out that quality depth to be able to get our players some quality rest in game is going to be critical for us. So I think it puts us in a good position. I like our group. I'm excited to get to work with them once everybody gets back into town. I think the W as a whole. I mean, certainly you've got the returning champs that are going to be front runners. I mean, your Brianna Stewart, New York Liberty. They're still the New York Liberty. They still have Brianna Stewart. They're still going to be terrific. Jonquel Jones on the interior, Sabrina Ionescu. So they've got a lot of talent. They've got a lot of depth. They're gonna certainly be a front runner. Minnesota returns most of their squad as well, and I think Nafisa Collier is playing as well as anybody in the world right now. So they're going to be excellent again. Obviously Las Vegas with the best player in the world and Asia Wilson are going to be great. They added Jewel Lloyd, so I think that makes them just as tough. And there's a lot of new faces everywhere. I think LA is going to be intriguing with Kelsey Plum added to that young front court. I think that they're going to be intriguing as well. There's been a lot of change in the W in the offseason. New coaches, new players, new places. So new systems for them to learn. I think the biggest thing and the most important thing is always, number one, how quickly can you gel? And number two, can you stay healthy throughout the course of an entire season? So I'm excited about the season. I'm excited about our group. So if your listeners get an opportunity to check us out, would love for that to happen. We've got a good group, and I think we got a lot of potential for this year.
So as stated, the team is plugged in or filled a lot of the holes, right? I don't like the fact that we started talking about Kelsey Plum and everybody else, but she's not lying. The Sparks have gotten better. All these teams are still teams that we can't just deny. I think she's trying to be humble. I don't think she's trying to be one of those coaches. Yeah, we got the best team. We're going to do this. We're going to go win a championship. I think she's just playing it smart. I think she's playing it very humble in a way where it's like, I know what we have. Let me not spread or give game plan. No, I'm going to tell you, hey, we're still going to play with pace. We're going to continue to surround everyone around our big three, Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell. We're going to make sure, we put the piece around them. We're going to get some leadership roles. We're going to get some playoff experience, some championship experience in that locker room. And it's the sooner we can gel together and become a unit, a real force, real family vibe, really catch a vibe with one another, this team is going to be very, very good. I think Stephanie White, when you ask Stephanie White what her offensive game plan could be for this team, dude, she probably has to run so many different lineups right now through her head. So many different looks, so many different options. They can spread the floor. They can run with pace, as stated. They can shoot the three. You have a dangerous point guard. You have a dangerous point guard who can score on you. You have a dangerous 2. You have a dangerous 3. You have a dangerous 4. And you have a baby dangerous 5. And then you have 2 pit bulls coming off the bench with Lexi Hall and Cunningham. Ready to just go crazy. So, I'm just super excited about this. One thing I do want to talk about, I don't know if this was the podcast where we covered, I'm not sure. So another thing I want to talk about, we're going to go back right here to Coach Stephanie White.
Rest in game is going to be critical for us.
Pretty much stating we're not going to have to play our main players 40 minutes a night to win ball games. We have enough depth now. We're going to play these players how we're going to play them. And we're going to make sure we're ready for the championship. We're ready for the playoffs. We don't need to burn our players out. Yeah, Caitlin Clark is going to come off ball here and there. Caitlin Clark is not always going to have the ball in her hand 24/7 to where she has to exert her energy and worry about making sure the offensive players are where they need to be or get them or put all the pressure on her. And then she has to come down the court, play defense, and then go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, we're going to give you a players who off. You're going to play off ball. I want you to come off the screen, hit the 3. Boom, boom, boom. Or I want you to be a distraction off the ball. There's so many different things, and you're going to be able to use Caitlin Clark is a distraction player as well for other players to get their shot off. So, or their looks and their opportunities.